Okay.
You have to be careful of the frog, right?
Right.
Frog is the soft part of the sled.
It's kind of a shock. The frog is a shock absorber.
Oh.
It's probably the best shock absorber made. It can take the weight of the horse and soften the blow.
And you do this like every 6 to 8 weeks, right?
Right.
And what happens if the hoofs grow too long?
Well, it depends. In the wild, horses don't need to be shod or trimmed because they wear them down on their own. And wild horses have really good feet, but a horse in a paddock doesn't have that opportunity. So they just grow and grow, and they'll grow as long unless they get broken off. And they're probably not going to get broken off if there's nothing to wear down the hoof.
And this doesn't hurt the horse, right?
Not at all.
It's just like your fingernails, huh?
Exactly.
Listen, how long have you been a farrier?
17 years.
So the tool you're using is
Nippers.
nippers. And they're just like nail clippers.
Very expensive nail clippers.
Yeah. So like how often do you, like, how many trips do you make a day to a horse?
Depends on how many I have scheduled. Today I had 6 horses.
Really?
But I only went to, let's see, 4 different places actually.
So how do you tell how short to cut them?
Well, the hoof itself tells you. And I've done this so long, I instinctively know. But if you cut the horse's hoofs too short, it'll make them sore. It'd be like cutting your fingernails too short. That could make them really hurt.
So how, like, have you ever gotten, like, injured being a farrier?
Yes.
Sounds like fun.
Well, sometimes horses don't want to do this, and it's not the farrier's responsibility to have the horse trained. It's the owner's responsibility. But I've only gotten kicked, well, not very many times, because I can feel the horse blowing up before it does it, and I know what I'm doing, so I get out of the way.
By the way, this is Mike. I did introduce him. Mike's my farrier. And this is my horse, Thunder. So I can file the front of the hoof.
Just to clean it up, make it look nice. Take flares out.
What are flares?
When you can see a horse's hoof will grow out too long, it will flare out this way, and that's not good. So I just remove all flare, but I only go up as high as the flare.
What'd you get in there? This is my friend Pam. She's the one who taught me everything about horses, everything about farrierism, and everything about riding, and got me my horse.
Holly is the best student I've ever had. She can ride. still need questions. For fancy questions, you can't walk. You could use this one.
Okay. So, Mike, if you cut the horse's head too short, can they bleed?
Yes, they can. The horse's hoof is like a capsule that covers sensitive, which is lots and lots of blood vessels. And if you get it too short, it goes into the sensitive. It'll make the horse really sore.
So, like, can their hooves get dry too?
Yeah. This horse's feet are a little dry because it's been muddy and been in the mud. When the mud dries up, the hoof dries up too. It's best if the horse's feet are a little moist. You're all right.
So what do I do if his feet are...
Well, you can put some commercial hoof dressings on the hoof. Like Hoofmaker's a good one.
Would Corona cream work?
Would what?
The Corona cream?
Probably, yeah.
So hoof dressing is just like lotion.
Yeah.
Viva wants in your movie.
What kind of horse do you have? I have an Appaloosa.
I thought he was a POA.
He was, but he's like, I think like a hand higher or something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Come on, bud.
Hand is 4 inches, and to be a pony you have to have 13 hands or less.
I see, yeah. In the old days, you had to make your horseshoes because he didn't start doing commercially made horseshoes for quite a while. And when I was in horseshoeing school, that's what we learned how to do. But it's really time-consuming and expensive.
Hey, Mom.
But I enjoy doing it. It's fun.
Yeah. So are there a lot of women carriers?
Yes, there are.
But
I got a bug bite.
You want to see the underneath?
okay, zoomed in.
This is good. Should I try and lift his feet? But then he like makes a big old...
That's an
Get over here and
I get pushed.
what I do is just clean everything up and make sure everything's balanced. You don't want one heel higher than the other. You don't want it too short. And the hoof tells you everything you really need to know.
So can the hoof tell you if the horse has like bad nutrition or whatever?
Yep.
Like what are some signs of that?
Well, discoloring, really brittle feet, shelly feet. But he seems to be pretty good.
And what's that tool you're using?
This is a loop knife, and I use it to pare out the frog. And this is the frog, the shock absorber part. Well, each school is different. The school I went to was a year. Had 3 trimesters, but there's some that are as little as 6 weeks. But it's a continual learning process. You know, you never can know too much about this.
So basically, it's just like the more experience you have, the better you are.
Basically, yeah.
So Mike, like, are all horses' hoofs like the same, or?
No, this horse has white feet. And when I was in school, our instructor told us that white feet and black feet, there shouldn't be any difference. But I find that white hooves are a little softer than black hooves, dark hooves.
So do the pink lines on his hoofs mean anything, like on the front of them?
Well, it's a little bit of bruising. You know, like your fingernails get little white marks when you hit them, and just like a hoof, and it'll get red. It's just a little bruise. It really is okay. I'm checking to see if both heels are even. You want everything balanced.
What happens if the heels aren't balanced?
You can make them lame. Worst scenario.
And to be lame is, what again?
When they, you know, it hurts them to move.
Okay, so.
And they'll limp or, you know, not go right. Come on. Well, that could be, you know, part of the blood supply. His feet aren't hot or anything. He seems fine.
What does that mean if their feet are hot?
It could be an indication that they're something's going on that's not good for the foot.
I see. And what is an abscess?
Let's say he stepped on a nail and it got up in there and pulled it out. There'd be an infected part, and it causes an abscess, a little pus pocket.
So how do you treat an abscess,
Just clean it out, dig it out a little bit, and I'd put hydrogen peroxide in there, a little betadine.
Would you wrap it up in like a bandage or anything?
Well, if it needed to drain, I would. Or, you know. Or if it needed to drain, you wouldn't want anything on it, actually.
Why don't you talk about this horse's behavior?
This horse, he's doing very well right now. The last 2 times I've had him clipped, he's ran away, ran over me, had to be tied to a fence.
Alrighty, I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you.
And then, are you going to show me how the shoes work?
I could go get a horseshoe and kind of demonstrate.
Okay.
You need a anvil, and I've got all that stuff. And I heat up my shoes in a forge, and I shape the shoe to the hoof, not the hoof to the shoe.
Okay.
Because every hoof is different.
So you ordered shoes in like one size or something?
Yeah, and he'd probably wear an aught or double aught, smaller shoe, probably an aught.
Okay. So.
Do you want me to go get a
Please.
horseshoe?
Thank you.
This is Mike's truck.
You need. Well, I probably don't have the right size. Oh, there we go. These are double aughts.
Okay.
And what you do is you always mark the outside so you know which horseshoe you're going to put on and where to put it. But you always show the hoof, or you fit the horseshoe to the hoof, not the other way around, because every hoof is different. And you put it in a forge, an anvil. And I hot shoe, so I put everything in my forge and it heats everything up. And I even burn the shoe in, but everything has to be level and balanced.
Okay.
And I safe and seed out just for the horse's safety. It's a little more work, but it's a lot better.
Okay.
And I nail the shoe on. Here's a nail, and you want them, we should probably show where you don't want to.
Okay. Like when he does that, he doesn't do that.
There's a bump there.
I don't know what that is.
Shoe a horse, there's a white line, and everything outside that white line is okay to nail to, but inside it's sensitive, and it's where all those blood vessels are. And if you hit the inside, on the inside of the white line, and you drove a nail in, you could hurt the horse.
And that would make him lame.
It'd make him lame. But you put on the shoe, you shape the shoe, this is actually pretty close. I would widen it up a little bit and just make it a little straighter in the corners, and then nail the shoe on. And you always there's a little emblem. This is a Delta horseshoe nail, and there's a little emblem in there. And you always put it on the inside of the horse, because a horseshoe nail is beveled to go out of the hoof so you can cut off the nail and clinch it down. And you go like that and then put it in.
So why do people use shoes, Mike?
Because a lot of horses' feet are real sensitive and they can't go on rock or gravel, and this just makes it so they can go anywhere. A lot of people think that's why the U.S. Cavalry won the war against the Indians, because they had horses that were shod and the Indians didn't. And a horse that's shod can go a lot further than a horse that isn't.
Okay. So, can a shoe also be used for a really bad crack or something?
Could be. And this is a clip, and that just helps the shoe to stay on. You open them up and then you bang them back in after the horseshoe is nailed on.
And this doesn't hurt the horse either unless
No.
you hit the white.
It's sensitive on the inside of the white line.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you.
My pony says hello. Thank you, Mommy. Okay, this is Badger. This is Mike's dog. He is the most awesome dog in the world. Just sits there. He's really fun. That's Badger. Hi, this is my friend Pam again. Just want to ask you some questions like, how often do you get your horse's feet clipped?
In the summer, I get them trimmed every 6 weeks, and in the winter, every 8 weeks, because the hooves don't grow as fast in the winter.
Okay, and how did you find your farrier?
When I got my horse, I was keeping him not at my house, but at another barn. So I asked the people that had their horses there, who did they use, and they introduced me to Mike. My horse his hooves were in bad shape, and I was pretty concerned about whether he would be lame. And
Cool, gee, for a road.
not my horse.
That's the baby horse. He's not a baby anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of a spoiled boy.
Yes.
Anyway, Mike did my horse, and he's been doing my horse now for 5 years ever since. He did a good job on Buddy the first time. Buddy had a lot of problems with his feet, and Mike's good work has made Buddy a healthy hoofed horse.
I see. And how often do you ride your horse?
I like to ride at least 3 times a week.
That sounds fun. Anything else you'd like to say?
If you're a horse person, you know it. It energizes you. It's a part of your life that you don't ever want to give up. My horses live at my house. I see them every day. I'm with them every day, and that's just a good way to live.
Okay. Thank you, Pam.
All right.
I'm Jenny. I have 4 horses. This is Kalana. She is 5 years old. And that's Kalua, and he's 2 years old. And that's Prancer, and he is 15 years old. I cannot see Prancer. He's kind of hiding. I usually get my horses' hooves trimmed. Pretty much whenever they need it. Like whenever they grow out longer, they start to chip. That's about when I trim their hooves. I have the farrier that I use. He comes in. There's different ways you can trim their hooves for different kinds of treatments. Like if you have a horse with arthritis, they'll trim it for that. This is our youngest horse, and he actually had his hooves trimmed when he was 6 months, which is about when you start doing everything on horses, trimming their hooves, vet checks, everything like that. So just pretty much basic hoof trimming. We just pick up their feet, and the farrier has tools. It's just like trimming your nails, and that's what he uses to trim their hooves. Cool. So do you ever have to put shoes on your horses? I have never put shoes on my horses. I know quite a few people who do. You can do therapeutic, just like I said, you can trim their hooves differently for arthritis. You can put shoes on for arthritis, or some people do it just for the type of riding that they do. I just do pleasure and ride in my own backyard, so I don't need a whole lot of shoes. Other people who live more in city areas have shoes because the cement is really hard on horses' hooves. They're riding on cement a lot. Well, thank you, Jenny. You're welcome. See you later. That's Whiskey's black and white one. And that one's Epita. And that one's Fu Manchu.